What we have here is we have Sean Malone, who's going to be running the interviews with me. For the first few episodes, we're going to do it together, and we're going to give you some insights, maybe some business lessons. And then when we get it going, we're going to be inviting every week somebody who is super successful in his type of a business, and we're going to ask them questions. How did they do it? Is there any books that they can recommend? How did they do it from the very, very start? Look, there's a lot of business gurus out there. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who are claiming to be helping people around, but nobody shows people the very first step that they should take. And I think that this podcast will be all about helping people to achieve success, be good at business, basically become a better person. This is the aim here. So the very first one is we're basically going to introduce ourselves. We're going to find out who is this fella, Lukas? How did I start? Where did I get my motivation? And what's the plans for the podcast and for the business for the next couple of years? So here we go.
The first thing I want to ask is, what was your early life like? When did you move from Poland to Ireland, and where did you settle?
Good question. So it was 2007, and my brother was living in Ireland at the time. And basically, he brought me here for 2 weeks. He said, come over for 2 weeks to a month, earn some extra cash, and you're going to go back to Poland and get back to school. As soon as I landed here, you have the idea of what happened. I landed, I got a job, and I basically never came back. I think one of the first jobs was in a hotel, cleaning rooms. Then I shifted to something else, then something else. At one stage of my life, I was working in McDonald's, flipping burgers.
Cool. I read an article last night. A lot of successful business people started off having teenage jobs in McDonald's. It teaches them, how to work hard.
Yeah, and actually that's a very good point I would love to say here. Just the fact that I started from the very bottom and I worked all of those difficult jobs. Right now, it wouldn't be possible to do what I'm doing if I didn't have those bad jobs, because I can reference to everything that I did. I remember working in the supermarket and the general manager was so bad, employing literally so silly people to run the shop. And now, when I'm starting a business and when I'm doing something, that's a reference of how not to employ people.
You know what to look for.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Same with the McDonald's. I've learned in McDonald's that, the McDonald's business is designed in such a genius way. Whoever designed it, you can literally put 15-year-old there and they don't have to have high IQ, but they'll be able to run it, so it's a full design,
They have systems in place.
Yeah, that's what I've learned.
They call that, there's a term for that, it's called to McDonald's the process. So everything's just a system. They have a line, get your ketchup, get your mayonnaise,
there
boom,
you
boom,
go.
boom.
There you go. That's actually the system I'm implementing in my garage, Anybody that walks in, their new manager, everything is on paper. Nothing can go wrong anymore.
Lovely. Processes. Systems are the key, huh?
That's true.
Deadly. What were some of the early challenges or some of the early adversity that you would have faced other than the horrible jobs?
Well, I'd say it was the fact that I didn't speak a word of English when I came here. That's a pretty big one to overcome.
Definitely.
Yeah, so when I landed here, I didn't even know how to say hello. I didn't even know how to say 1, 2, 3. I knew nothing, It's actually why I wanted to start the podcast, because a guy who came here off the plane with no English, no experience, can achieve success.
Exactly.
I don't care what language you speak. I don't care what's the color of your skin. I don't care what your previous experiences in life. You can do it.
Exactly.
If you just listen to my podcast, if you do exactly what I say in the next couple of episodes, you can do it, because I'm going to roll out exactly what I did, what motivated me.
We're going to give you a game plan.
There you go.
Deadly. So we'll start with the businesses. What made you wake up and realize that you had to start a business?
That's a very good one. I remember I was working for this builder fella, right? So he had me digging foundations and all that stuff. I was working for 80 quid a day and I was happy. That's the funny thing. I didn't want to have my own business, but he was pissing me off so much. I remember one day, it was 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas. We weren't doing a lot of work, and some of you already know that story. So I said to the boss man, I said, listen, I was collecting some scrap for the past 2 years. I had a bit of copper, bit of lead, bit of this, bit of that, and I was going to sell it 2 weeks before Christmas. So I packed it all into the van, and, a day before I rang my mother in Poland and I said, listen, ma, there's a few quid coming. I'm going to send you 500 quid for the Christmas. She was delighted. I was supposed to pay my rent out of that money. But what happened was, when I went to the scrapyard with all that stuff, they asked me for the company name. So me, stupidly, giving them the company name instead of asking for a cash check, I gave them the company names. So what happened was, they gave me a check for that money and I had to put it through the company. So I gave it to my boss, and what did he do? He put it through the company and he only gave me 1/3 of that money. He kept 1/3 and he gave his son 1/3, who wasn't even really working in the business. And that absolutely broke my heart. And I came back home that night and I sat on the corner of my bed, didn't have money for rent, I didn't have money to send my mother, and I had to sit on the corner of my bed and make the hardest phone call in my life, which was tell my mother, listen, mom, Christmas ain't coming.
Christmas is cancelled.
Christmas ain't coming. And that's exactly, I sat on the corner of that bed. I remember this as today. A tear came down on my cheek and I said, this will never happen again. Never, ever, ever. And that was the day when I decided I want to be successful. I want to have businesses. And that's the night I downloaded my first audiobook.
Sweet. And talking about this guy, the first boss, or not the first boss, the builder boss, did he teach you any lessons?
That's a very good question. Yeah. So, people said, I shared this story on TikTok before and people said, oh, he's this and he's that. Look, he was bad in some sections, okay, in some areas. But he was also a very good man. He taught me a lot. And in fact, right now, if I met him, I would have nothing but respect for him, Nothing but respect. So yeah, he did teach me a lot. In fact, I was a business partner of his. So, I was such a hard worker. I remember, I was paid from 8 to 5. But I used to be in work at 7 and finishing at 6 or 7 as well, not asking
Grafting.
for any extra. Yeah, I loved grafting. I used to love it, you know.
100%. Super. So what was the first business that you opened?
Good question. So the very first business, I remember we were working in some architect's house. And we were doing some stripping of the house. The house was riddled with dampness, So we stripped all the plaster, we did all the heavy work, and then this guy comes in, damp-proofing company, right? He paints the wall with this stuff and he injects it with some liquid, right? So he was there for 2 hours and I saw the invoice of what he charged. And all I saw is just €2 coins in my eyes, like ching ching.
Dollar bills.
So like we're here doing all the heavy work and then this guy comes in and he charges like 3 or 4 grand. The hell?
Like the electricians.
Yeah, so what I did was I came back home, I did my homework, and then I came back to the boss the next day and said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I want to go on my own. I'm going to be doing this. But he got scared. He didn't want to lose me. So as soon as I said it, he said, all right, you do it, but we do it together and I'll give you 20% of the business. Look, I never saw any 20%. In fact, he got me onto the back to work scheme. So I was getting €200 a week from the social welfare and I was getting another €200 from him. So I was working for €400 a week and I was running site. I was doing everything for a full year. All he paid me was €200 a week, €200 or €300 a week, which was very little, Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was the first business I started. And then I did go on my own. And the way I did it was I was working Monday to Friday for him. And then I started my website, I did my social media, and I was doing my own jobs on Saturday and Sunday. And when I got too busy to be doing it on Saturday and Sunday, then I started saying to him, listen, I'm not going to work Fridays anymore because I have to do this and this. Look, I was so good that he couldn't say no. He had to say yes. So I was working from Monday to Thursday for him, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was doing my own jobs. And as soon as that exploded, then I just quit my job and I was working for myself then. And the rest is history.
Love it. And I'm sure most people who are going to be watching this podcast understand that, but that's what the side hustle is, your free time.
Exactly. When I say to people that they should work and sweat their balls, do overtimes and work Saturdays and Sundays, I don't mean that you should be in a warehouse shifting trolleys for €12 an hour. When I say that, I mean that you should work on yourself, you should work on a side hustle, go out and do a bit of laboring privately for people. Because if you're working in a factory or you're working in McDonald's and then you stay for some overtimes, the tax is gonna slaughter you. Like the tax is designed in such a way that it's supposed to keep people as slaves, The moment you start earning over 600 quid a week, you're on 40% tax.
So you're not really making anything extra. Exactly.
Yeah, so when I say that you should work weekends, you should do overtimes, you should work on your own hustle. You don't have one, create one. Copy somebody else.
Yeah. So that first business kind of morphed into Dublin Protective Coatings. Would that be right?
Yeah, so it was called Suska Damp Proofing and Construction. So my second name is Suska, so that's the way I called it. But then I'll never forget that day. I was doing okay-ish. I was turning over maybe like 5-6 grand a week, which is okay. But I'll never forget, this sales rep called me because he saw the number on the side of my van and he called me and he said, Lukas, do you do any roofing? Would you do any roofing? That was his question. And I said, well, I probably would. I never did, but I would, He invited me to his warehouse. He showed me all these great products. And I just said to myself, hold on a minute. So you don't have to re-roof roofs. You can just paint them with that stuff. Ching, ching. And then I started doing flat roofs. I marketed for it. So I set up a website. Cost me something silly like €500. Set up the Facebook page, and in fact, that sales rep told me to start recording videos. That's the way to market myself. And I didn't do it for quite a while. I only did it after a couple of months of when he said it. And the rest is history, basically. I was still trading under that name for about 4 years. And then when things got really big, when we started getting the big jobs, I said, right, we have to change the name and just focus on the roofing.
Yeah.
Because the damp roofing was good, but you couldn't do it on a commercial level, let's say.
Okay.
You know, we would just do in houses. But the houses, you know, you have to... The problem with the damp roofing was that I had to do everything myself, because you just needed so much knowledge, you know, lime mortar, old buildings, the pre-63 and the whole, you know, it's just, there's a lot to it. But in the roofing, everything is just such a niche, you know, it's just one product, one type of the roof, you're just going hell for leather on it, you know.
And who was that salesman with?
That was Vincent. He's actually my business mentor.
Yeah.
If I
yeah.
have a problem and I have to call somebody, I ring that dude. He's my hero.
Yeah,
hero.
Vince is a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good lad. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for him. Definitely not, yeah. In fact, I'll try to get him here onto the podcast, but this guy is a millionaire, but he's one of these millionaires that drives in an old car. He doesn't want to show off. He's definitely not a show off, put it that way. And he probably wouldn't like to be seen on a podcast like that, because he's just a guy that keeps...
Yeah.
You know?
Low key.
Yeah, very low key, like a very super intelligent guy, you know.
Love it.
Doesn't give a you know, about anybody's opinion, basically, you know.
Exactly. So let's pretend you didn't start that business. What do you think you'd be doing right now if you didn't start it?
Holy moly. I don't know. But what I know is whatever I would be doing, I would be good at it, because I always used to put my heart and soul into something, you know, even if I didn't know how to do it. I'll never forget that day. I was on a construction site, working, doing extension for some builder. It was another builder, right? And he asked me, can you drive diggers? And without hesitation, I said yes. I jumped in the digger and I made an absolute mess of things. And they got me off it in 10 minutes. But the builder took me on the side and he said, Lukas, fair play for saying yes. But next time, just tell me that you want to try, you know? So, because I didn't know how to drive the digger. But the funny thing is, as soon as they went off, every lunch break I had, I didn't take my food.
Hopped in the digger.
I hopped in the digger on my break and I learned how to do it in a week. And the funny thing is, after 4 weeks, I was better than the guy who was doing it for 20 years.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's how I learned.
Grafter. And fair play to the site manager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't a proper site. It was just a house extension somewhere in the back of Luca.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Fair enough. What's your advice to people who might have been like you, working at McDonald's, working for a builder? They know that they're made of more, but they're worried about taking the step.
They need fuel. Because, look, nobody flips burgers in McDonald's and says, right, I want to be a millionaire. It doesn't work like that. Usually, people have to hit the rock bottom to realize things, you know? My rock bottom was that day when my previous boss didn't give me the full money for that scrap. He only gave me my third, and I was in the financial difficulties. That was my rock bottom, and I said, right, that's it. I've had enough.
Things are going to change.
Yeah, and that's when I stopped hanging around with people. Well, that's when basically everything changed. My education started there, because I realized how stupid I was, because I was.
Yeah.
And that's the night I downloaded my first audiobook about being better. I think it was a little great book of yes attitude. That was my first audiobook. And after listening to that, people noticed that I've changed my attitude a little bit. And I just, another one. And I've been doing that for 10 years. Every morning, every day, I listen to audiobooks. Every time. Even when I'm eating my breakfast in the morning at 5 a.m., I'd have a phone and I'd be watching clips on YouTube about personal growth.
Sure, even when we drove to Sligo last week, 4 hours. Well, more than that.
Yeah,
probably
well,
6 hours of audiobooks.
6 hours of audiobooks, you know. So driving time should be learning time. Never, ever should you be driving and listen to radio, because it's pointless. It's stupid. In fact, I think everybody who's serious about success should get their TV out the bloody window. Just make sure that there's no pedestrian so you don't kill somebody. But be dramatic. Get it out the window. Get a snips. Cut the bloody aerial in your car.
Get
no
rid of
radio,
it.
no TV.
Good quote that I've been seeing on Instagram recently is, if you're not brainwashing yourself every day, somebody else is going to be brainwashing you.
Exactly. This is so true. You know, look, I know a lot of successful people. I know millionaires. I know multimillionaires. And guess what? None of them watch TV. TV is a TV program. It's supposed to program you to be a poor fucker.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Keep you down. Keep you stuck.
Yeah, look, I'm going to record a full episode about why social media is bad for you, especially TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm on it, but I'm creating TikTok.
Exactly.
The problem with TikTok is that it messes up your attention span. So years ago, your attention span would be 8 to 9 seconds. Then it moved to 7 seconds. Now people's average attention span is 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds, they want to scroll and they want to see new stimulant. So then when you go home in the evening and you say, well, I want to be like that Lukas guy and I'm going to open a book. Your brain is telling you, no, you little fucker. For past 5 years, you've been watching short clips and you've been giving me new endorphins and new stimulants every 2 seconds. And now you want me to read a book for half an hour? No. That's not going to happen. That's why people often say, I can't read books. I lose focus after 5 minutes because your attention span is fucked.
But you can fix that, so don't get hung up on that either.
Oh, 100%. We'll be giving you strategies of how to start. Look, this is just the first episode. This is just an introduction. We'll have plenty to come. Look, I was going to start a business program and I was going to sell it the way Andrew Tate has his own Hustlers University.
Yep.
But I said to myself, why don't I just do it for free? Like, what is the big deal? And I know that if I started for free, and a lot of you guys who are listening and watching this, if you become great and you have your own business and you start making money, who are you going to get to do your roof? Who are you going to get to do your car? Who are you going to get to buy products from? Like, obviously, it's going to be the guy who you trust and like, which will be me. So that's my plan, you know. I was going to create a nice business course but I decided, no, fuck it. Let's just do it for free. And I feel like there is a lot of young guys out there who don't have a mentor, who don't have a guide who they can follow, who started from nothing, who did all the drugs, who was homeless. By the fact I was homeless. I did everything that I could do. That's why I'm so quiet now.
Okay.
Because I did it. I did it all. So I think that guys, especially young guys, they need a guy like me. They need a mentor who they can go home and they can listen to and they can watch, who's going to make their life better. Because look, we're living in Dublin here right now. So who are the young guys looking up to? It's probably their local drug dealer because he's rolling around in a new car. He's banging bitches. Look,
if he's lucky.
Yeah, he has money here and there, but they don't have anybody to watch and follow, and they don't have any idea how to start. But if they watch my podcast from episode 1 further, everybody will be successful if they just do exactly what I say, because I did it.
And we're just going to keep giving you guys value. We might launch a course in the future, once the podcast starts growing. But the goal here is to get people, get their brain ticking and start realizing that we can make positive changes in our lives and grow something and break out of the rat race.
Exactly. And it's hard to get out of it if you're just working somewhere because I know I did it. I was that guy. I used to flip burgers in McDonald's for €8 an hour. I used to live in Black Horse Avenue.
Wow.
Take 2 buses to Donhamit Shopping Center and work in McDonald's for 8 hours and then take 2 buses home.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't know any better. And I thought that was it. I'll never forget that day when I was working in a hotel and I was fired. I was cleaning rooms. But I was fired and I went on the internet looking for a job. And what was I looking for? Another cleaning job in a hotel because I didn't know any better. Look, right now, with my knowledge now, I'd be... It's crazy. But that's the thing. Don't learn on your own mistakes. Listen to a guy like me and learn on my mistakes. I'll be sharing all my, mistakes.
Exactly. And again, if you're working in a hotel, if you're working in McDonald's, nothing wrong with it. All work is good work.
No, of course. But use it to gain experience. Don't plan it as your career.
Exactly. And that's a good point. Learn from other people's mistakes if you can.
That's a big one. Look, every problem out there, every business, everything was already done, solved, and somebody wrote about it in a book or audiobook. But the thing is that people don't listen and don't watch that stuff.
Exactly.
They rather go on YouTube. They rather go on TikTok
watch TV
and watch shite.
Yeah. So let's talk about the future. Have you got, we'll say, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals? How do you structure, your life?
So short-term goals are to put all of my businesses on absolute autopilot. I don't believe that a person who owns a business should work in it.
Okay.
I think that business owner should own a business and just look at it from a helicopter view. You're looking at the company from the top, and every day you just try to make it better. Today I might be looking at the sales. How could I bring the sales? Tomorrow I might be looking at the contracting side of it, and I'll be saying, right, how could I structure this a little bit better? Tomorrow I'm going to look at the invoicing, and I'm going to try to make this a little bit better. And there's always a guy inside who is running that business.
So it's like you're playing chess almost.
Yeah, so right now I have 6 companies, so all I do every day is just try to make them better. But I don't answer phone calls. I don't look at emails. Nobody even has my phone number.
Yeah.
I only talk to one guy who's looking after all of my businesses.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm really realistically, you could say that I'm disconnected from it, but I'm not, because
You're
I'm
the
always
general.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking care of everything. So 10 years from now, what do you want to be doing with yourself?
Okay, so there's 2 options. This can go 2 ways. It all depends whether me and Pamela have a kid in the next year or two.
Okay.
Because that's going to change things a lot. But what I would love to do is do what I'm doing now. Bring the companies to a certain level till I'm turning 10 million a year. And then, as crazy as it sounds, I want to book one ticket to Spain and I want to do exactly what I'm doing here in a foreign country where I don't speak the language and where I don't have any contacts, just to prove people that it's possible.
Wow. Yeah.
I think I want to do it, yeah.
That's deadly.
Yeah, but it's gonna everything will change when me and Pamela have a kid, which we probably will. But if I do, I'm probably not gonna leave it. So I'd like to be in Spain for 3 weeks of the month and 1 week here in Dublin. So 3 weeks there, I'm doing my thing on my own, starting everything from the scratch. Look, I was born to hustle. I don't like pricking around. So, things are getting easier and easier. People think that the more businesses you have, the more things you have to do. But it's actually the other way, because the more businesses I have, the more people I employ. Like right now, we have Vito, our camera guy. We have the advertising guy. We have yourself. Everybody has their own job. So, I don't have to do everything anymore.
Exactly.
And things are getting easier and easier, contradicting everything that everybody says.
That's a very interesting thing to hear, and I like that goal. It's kind of like if you dropped a millionaire on a desert island, would he be able to become a millionaire again?
That's
with
what
no
I want to
resources?
do, and I will do it. I'm sniffing around it already.
Deadly. Deadly.
I think Malaga be the place to go, because it's there's a lot of Irish there. There's a lot of English. There's a lot of different nationalities.
What would you do, business-wise?
Well, I'd start with the shop, Global Coating. So I'd start selling products. In fact, I'm starting to set that up right now as we speak.
Cool.
And then I just look at what's profitable. I want to get into businesses that are scalable. So, for example, my garage, my car business is not scalable. So, I have 7 lifts in it, and, we can only do so many cars a week, and you're never going to jump a certain...
Above that,
Yeah. But in scalable business, let's say you come up with your own book and you can sell it to 1 million people at the time. So that's a scalable business. So I think my next businesses will be scalable.
Deadly.
Rather than, like let's say a personal trainer. You might be good, you'll be working with a passion, but you'll never make more money than you can charge per hour.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Do you think you'll ever stop working?
No. Funny fact. Look, listen to this. People talk about retirement, but the statistics say that people who retire die 15 years younger than people that don't retire. And that's a fact. You can Google it.
Yep, true.
That's true, because you lose your passion, you lose your drive, you have no meaning for life, basically.
You lose the will to live.
You lose the will to live. And that's an actual statistic that you can check up. People who retire will die 15 years younger. So
That's crazy.
I will never retire. Like, what the heck would I be doing? Like, I work 7 days a week, every day. And sometimes when I have even 6 hours free on Sunday, I don't know what to do with myself. I literally come here on a Sunday and I prick around my stuff.
Yeah, I know. I know well. Right, look, we talked about the future, talked about the business. I want to know, what was the motivation to start the podcast?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. Basically, I wanted to bring something into the community. So, as I said before, I feel like guys need guidance. Well, I'm not just saying guys. Everybody needs guidance. And I feel like I'm the man.
You are?
Yeah, because look, I started from the very bottom. And, people look at me now and they might say, oh, Jesus, he's great with this and with that. But if anybody knew me 10 years ago, you would say this total waster is not going to achieve anything. Because I used to smoke with weed for a living, drink alcohol extensively. I did all sorts of drugs, including dimethyltryptamine and bloody everything.
Yeah. Okay, Joe Rogan, relax.
Yeah.
Mistakes. We just kind of touched on your early life and what you were doing before you started your business. But is there one mistake or one particular thing that you regret more than anything, we'll say?
No, because I believe that everything happens for a reason. Everything. If I look at all the mistakes that I done in my life, there was a lesson on the other side of the mistake. I remember that this one roof that we messed up, in fact, it's the first roof that I did. I made an absolute mess of it. I had to pay the guy money. But there was a lesson on the end of it. And the way I acted with it is also a good lesson to you. Because what happened was I messed up a roof. It was no invoice. It was a cash job. It was for a neighbor of a neighbor. He was doing his own thing, right? And I messed it up, and I was supposed to pay him back the money, and the guy, the owner of the house, after I paid him the money back, he took me on the side and he said, Lukas, fair play to you for coming back. A lot of people would just turn their back and be gone, but I didn't. And the funny fact is that 3 years later, I was coming to price a job, and this guy was involved in the deal, and he saw me. And not only that, he didn't say, "Oh, this Lucas fella is this and that." He actually recommended me, and he vouched for me because he saw me on social media that I actually got good after the 3 years, you know. But if I screwed him that time, I would have lost the contract.
Would have been gone.
You know.
You had integrity.
So yeah, so the bottom line of the story is that I don't regret anything. And every time we make a mistake, just learn from it, write it down, learn and move and jog on.
And it's the same with anybody watching this. Don't feel bad about what's gone on, in the past.
Exactly.
Don't think that it's going to hold you back.
No. Look, you have people all over the world. And I think that the very good thing that you could do is read biographies of successful people. I have this great book, Visionals and something, I can't remember the name of it. But basically every 2 or 3 pages is a history of a man or a woman who was extremely successful and started from nothing. And you should read that. Because if people think that they're in their 40s and it's too late for them, no, it's not. What about the guy who started KFC? He started KFC, I think he was in around 60s, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He received his first paycheck for a couple of $100 and he said, nope, it's not going to be like that. I have to do something. But all he had was this recipe for fried chicken that his mother gave him or something. So what he said to himself, right, but I have to sell this recipe somehow. So he drove from restaurant to restaurant with his pots in the back of the car and he was showing the people in the restaurant his recipe. But he said to them, listen, I want 2 cents per chicken that you sell if you use my recipe. And funny enough, over 1,000 people told him no. They shut him down, but he didn't give up. I think I can't remember exactly how many months, but over a year, he was driving from one restaurant to another one. Everybody was telling him no. But one guy finally said yes. And the rest is history. That's how KFC started. And the guy was retired. So
He was an old man. I don't know what age he was, but he was an old man.
yeah.
Interesting. True salesman as well, huh?
Yeah. So I don't believe, that's why I say I don't care what's the color of your skin, how old you are, what excuses you have, you can do it. If you just have enough motivation. And, to get motivation, you just have to, we're gonna be covering on this podcast goal setting techniques, visualization, law of attraction, because that stuff works. But it doesn't work the way it says in The Secret. The Oprah said in The Secret, you just think and it'll happen. No. Bollocks.
You have to work.
Yeah, so the thinking and the positive thinking and all that, I think it's about 20% of the whole recipe. You also have to work hard. You have to write down your goals. You have to see ahead and you have to learn and work hard. And if you combine all of those together, then the law of attraction works.
Exactly.
Other than that, if you just sit at home and visualize yourself as a successful guy and watching PlayStation, that is not going to work.
Not going to work.
No.
Yeah. So, Lucas, for people who are looking to get started down this road of, let's just say, self-development, improvement, increasing their financial, stability, etc., what are 3 books that you would recommend?
Before I start recommending books, first thing that I would say is stop smoking weed in the afternoons and stop drinking alcohol during the week. That is the biggest one, because this is not going to work if you're going to try to become a better person, read books and listen to audiobooks and then come back home and slaughter yourself, because it will kill all of your motivation. So that's the first thing.
So you're saying become dedicated.
Yeah, become dedicated and stop, just thinking that you have to smoke weed or drink beer to fall asleep, because that is false. I was that guy, but trust me. But look, the moment I got out of it, this is when things escalated, So the first thing I would say is download yourself on Audible. Audible, it's an application where you can listen to audiobooks. And every time when you're on your own, turn it on. The thing is that at the start, you're not going to be able to, because as I said before, your brain, I say in the simplest words, I think that your brain, you could also compare to a field, right? So let's say you walk up to a field, right? If you walk through the field once, are you going to make a path? No. If you walk through it twice, are you going to make a path? No. But if you walk through it 20 or 30 times, you're going to walk to that field and the field will guide you, So this is what's happening in your brain right now. If you come up to a book, if you come up to a book and you open the book, just the fact of reading, it's not going to be registered in your brain as a pathway. So you have to build that pathway. If you don't, your brain is going to tell you, no, I don't want you to be doing that. Go back to TikTok and scroll. bitch.
Especially if you're dopamine out of it, you know.
Yeah, that's it. So people say, oh, look, I often get it when I say to people about meditation and trying something new. They try it once or twice and they say, well, it doesn't work. And I said, well, did you do it for at least 21 days? Because that's how long it takes for patterns to be embedded in your brain.
Make those neural connections and things.
That's what happens. It takes 21 days to learn something new and, quit a bad habit or start a new habit. Success is all about habits. The harder I work, the luckier I get. The earlier I wake up, the more I get done. Like I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm in my office at 6. And from 6 to 8, I get shitload of work done because nobody's interrupting me. There's nobody here. And that's every day. So multiply those couple of hours by a year. Like I'm light years ahead of my competition.
Exactly. That's a good point. There's a guy called Alex Hormozy.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, me too. He talks about skill stacking.
Yeah, very good book by Alex. 100 million offers.
Exactly. 99 cents on Amazon
he's
as well,
actually
by
a guy
the way.
that does everything for free. Unbelievable guy. Alex Hormozy.
All about providing value, huh?
Exactly.
Deadly. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of books then.
Yeah.
If you could name 3 books.
I think for anybody who is starting in business and wants to start reading books, and I think everybody should, I would start with, look, whether you like Donald Trump or not, he wrote some amazing books. And the good thing about his books is that they are written in super easy language.
Yeah.
So everybody, even a foreigner with a very limited language like myself, a couple of years ago, was able to read that book deck to deck in 2 or 3 days.
Cool.
It'll tell you that you can do it,
Which one? The Art of the Deal?
The Art of the Deal is the one, yeah. That's the one I started with, yeah. Next book I would recommend is everything from Brian Tracy's range. I think Maximum Achievement is the one to start with.
I'm listening to that right now.
Yeah, or Eat That Frog. I'm actually going to get a tattoo of that because it changed my life. Eat That Frog. This book is about doing the hard tasks first. So you get into work, you eat that frog. So basically your frog is your biggest and hardest task. So instead of doing everything around it and leaving the frog for the last, you eat that frog first. And that's it. You focus on your toughest task and the task that's going to bring the most value. That's what
we have that one behind us there, actually. Eat That Frog on the book.
We actually do, yeah.
Definitely. And number 3?
Number 3 would be Grant Cardone's book. Yeah. This book will teach you all about thinking big, dreaming, and not giving a flying, about what other people say or think about you. See my social media, see all this game, posting 20 times a day. Oh, he taught me this.
Yeah, 10x it.
Yeah, 10x it. I 10x my game. So basically what Grant is saying is that, when people say, oh, you're posting too much, I say, no, I don't. Because when people block me, they are simply not my clients.
Yeah, exactly.
They are just not. I had this with my girlfriend. She says, Lucas, you're posting too much. One of my customers said that she saw you and she had to block you. And I said, and who the hell is she? Oh, she's a nurse. And I said, how the hell is she my client? She did me a favor by blocking me. And however, if she ever needs my service, she already knows where I am because I pissed her off.
And why it's not a requirement to follow you.
No, it's not. If somebody doesn't like me, you can jog off and start watching, funny cats or,
Yeah, or come back to me when you've got 6 businesses and a big TikTok and Instagram following and then tell me I'm posting too much,
Yeah, exactly. There's never too much of posting. And I think anybody who has a business, anybody who is serious about business should be on TikTok. Like it used to be Facebook, then it moved to Instagram, and now it's all about TikTok. I think the views that we're getting on TikToks for free, it's crazy. And it's free. And I think the reason why this is happening is that Facebook and Instagram, they're owned by Zuckerberg. Yeah. So it's a private guy. He wants money. Yeah. Isn't that right?
More or less.
But TikTok is owned by the Chinese. And I think what the Chinese want to do is they want to take over the world in terms of data. Because guess what's going to happen if you download TikTok? You download TikTok today, and what you're going to do is you're going to agree to those terms and conditions. And what's going to happen then is the Chinese will have access to your emails, they'll have access to your contacts, they can even access other devices that you're
devices on your network, everything.
Yeah, so basically the Chinese have access to everything. And look, to you or to me, like I don't do anything dodgy, or I'm not afraid that somebody's going to steal my data.
They're harvesting data.
But they're harvesting data, they want to, in 10 to 20 years, they want to become the empire of the world. Superpower, yeah, and that's what they're doing. That's why TikTok is free.
The US wants to ban TikTok.
I wouldn't be surprised. Trump spoke about it multiple times.
He did. He called it a national security threat because of the fact that they can literally access all your files, your photos.
Oh,
Anyway,
100%.
we won't get too deep, but
Yeah.
it's an interesting topic. I'll tell you one thing that is interesting about the Chinese version of TikTok. Over in China, you can't access it after 10 p.m.
Yeah, because they know that TikTok makes you stupid. So they try
Exactly.
to limit people.
Exactly. And even the things that the algorithm promotes.
Yeah.
It talks about kind of the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, personal growth, smart things. But, you turn on TikTok in America or in Ireland, all you're going to see is girls dancing and showing off their boobs, which is stupidity.
They're trying to make us slow, man.
Yeah.
Trying to make
And
us
they're,
slow.
they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. The good news is, though, if you're watching our podcast and you're listening to what we're
You're
saying,
on a good track.
you're on the right track.
Yeah, look, we're only getting going here. We want to get the first 5 or 10 podcasts will be just me and Sean yapping about business, how we can make things better.
Yeah.
As soon as we grow it to a certain point, I already have people lined up. We're going to have Joe Doyle. We're going to have property guys. We're going to have people in the car trade, serious operators. They're going to come here and they're going to tell us how they did it from the start. They're going to tell us what lessons they could give you to make yourself better. Look, this podcast is not about me. It's not about Sean. It's not about the guy who's going to come here, but it's about you and helping you to get out of the rabbit hole. That's what this podcast is all about.
And you're not going to have to pay for it. As I said earlier, we might launch a course.
Yeah, we'll launch a business course maybe in the future, but only for the guys that are already turning $1 million. They want to turn it to a 10.
Exactly.
I wouldn't dare to charge money. I wouldn't dare to charge for showing somebody how to start a business, because this is like Jesus saying, okay, let's feed the poor with some fish. Where's your money?
Yeah, literally.
It doesn't work like that. I wouldn't have the dignity to do it.
And that's a good point. That's something that we were speaking about previous to, I think last week we spoke about it. This is a great platform to actually show people how to do it. How many gurus are out there getting rich off saying and claiming that they're millionaires and they're going to teach you?
Look, I want to be the guy who doesn't charge for showing you how it's done. And I don't think there's anybody like that out there, is there?
If there is, they're few and far between.
Yeah.
Because most of these guys, like I say, and this is in books, you can buy books talking about this, claim to be an expert in a certain subject, create an email list, create a simple website, a click funnel, and you're going to teach people how to do X, Y, and Z with knowing nothing about it, with not having any real money in the bank, but you'll make some dough, tricking people basically. We're here to show you how it's done properly.
Exactly, and there's people like that in Dublin. Would you believe that I'm getting people to coach me left, right, and center, and there's this couple of guys in Dublin. There's this one guy, I think he's the most funny one. I'll tell you this story. So I contacted him and I said, listen, will you coach me on your thing? But before I get somebody to coach me, I ask them, how are they,
where they are.
Yeah, well, like, who are you to be teaching me business, So I said to the guy, what do you do? How many businesses do you have since you teach him business? He doesn't have any businesses.
Are we going to name and shame or no?
No, I would never, ever do that. So he doesn't have any businesses. He doesn't run anything. He just has his coaching business, but he never had a business. So I was thinking to myself, how the hell is he going to teach me a business? And all he was teaching was some law of attraction bullshit anyway. So
the power of sales. I mean, he must be a good salesman.
Yeah, he's out there on Instagram, on TikTok, and, he's making money. That's the funny thing, But anyway, this podcast is exactly something like that, but much more value to you and free. I believe in free knowledge. Knowledge should be free, unless it's a specific niche knowledge that will make you money. Then go and pay for it. But like a business knowledge like this should be accessible to everybody for free.
Yeah. And when you get to your first million, then you can buy the course and we'll make it 10.
Yeah, that's the drill.
Yeah, literally. Okay, perfect. Well, look, I feel like it's gone pretty well for episode number 1.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think that's it for today. This was just a quick introduction here. The next episodes will be structured in a different way. So let's say on the next episode, we're going to be talking about just motivation. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about goal setting techniques. Then we're going to be talking about specific topic, and that's when we're going to take off.
Perfect.
Thank you, Sean Malone.
Thank you, Lucas. Looking forward to the next one, huh?